Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about running. For most of you, running is a dirty word and you hate hearing it. Some of you just avoid running days altogether. Personally, I'm a believer that if it's something you hate, you need to do it. Why? Because it ultimately makes you a stronger person. It may not help you physically, but it'll help you mentally. Personally, I do not enjoy running. It's not something I do for stress relief. That to me is CrossFit. But if you want to be better at CrossFit, I need to be a better runner. Not only for the aerobic capacity benefits of it, but because if I can crush a weakness of mine, then that will give me the mental confidence that I can beat any challenge. Running for most people is not as bad as they make it out to be. Most were just taught wrong. I was for sure. When I was in the army, whenever someone was a bad runner and failed either their 2 miler or their 4 miler, we would make them run further and further. This will teach them to be better runners, we thought. This was completely off base and wrong. It wasn't until I started studying on it did I realize that for better running performance, we need to rely on three things: proper technique, increase of ground force reaction, or your gait, and increased rate of force development, stride frequency. Let's talk about those things. First off, running is by far the most dangerous sport on the planet. There are more incidents of running injuries than there are for any other sport. Yes, a lot of it has to do with the amount of people that go running, but it is still a fact that many who start running get injured at some point. This brings us to the point of technique. For whatever reason, we practice technique and work on form when we lift weights or we do gymnastics, but when it comes to running, we just go out there and run. Now, I've come across many athletes in my 10 plus years of strength coaching, and many either believe that they have good running form or need cushioning in their shoes because they have to have them. Neither is true majority of the time. Running is all about falling. The way to demonstrate this is to stand up straight. How do you start moving? You start moving by shifting your center of gravity forward and your leg catches you as you fall and you start moving. Do this at a faster rate and you have running. Running on the balls of your feet is a skill very few possess. Yes, even you who think you do. But it's more than that. It's about developing a proper lean as you run. When most people lean, they tend to lean at the waist and not from the ankles. This tends to lead to lower back pain. When you lean from your ankles, your whole body forms a straight line from the ground to the head. Remember, the lean should come from the ankles and not from the waist. The better I work on my running technique, the easier the next parts of running efficiency will be. The next part of running that we will talk about is increased ground force reaction. The gait or the pull. By learning how to pull my foot coming off the ground, I am able to increase my running speed. Think of a flat tire. When you have a flat tire, the car moves slow because there is more surface area of the tire touching the ground. When you fill the tire up with air, the less surface area is on the ground and the smoother you ride. Same goes for your running gait. The longer your foot stays in contact with the ground, the slower you will run. The faster you are able to pick your foot off the ground and transition to the next point, the faster you will run. Then comes how hard you want to pull. In a dead-on sprint, I want to pull my foot high off the ground to explosively move to the next transition. However, if you are running long distance, you want to pull lower off the ground as you will not be able to maintain explosive pulls over a long distance. Watch a 100-meter Olympic sprinter and as they pull hard off the ground, while an Olympic marathoner will pull low off the ground. But the pull with the hamstrings is the same. They end up in the same figure 4 position. This is why it's extremely important for runners to do strength training, especially in the hamstrings. Many runners neglect strength training, and this leads to greater amounts of running injuries. And finally, we're going to talk about the stride frequency. Going back to our 2 original points, if you don't have good technique, you tend to heel strike. If you heel strike, you leave your foot on the ground for longer periods, which as discussed slows you down. And once we fix that, we can go to stride frequency. Understanding a running cadence is key for becoming an efficient runner. The minimum running cadence you should have is 90. 130 is world class. The cadence is every time you pull your lead foot off the ground. The faster the cadence, the faster you run. If you have too fast of a cadence over a longer distance, the faster you will hit burnout. But too slow a cadence and you'll be extremely inefficient. Understandably, keeping a running cadence is difficult, but with proper running drills before you take off on your run, the better you'll be able to keeping one. Guys, hopefully this lays out a format for becoming a better and more efficient runner. I know many of you just hate the idea of running, but if you actually work on the skills, just like in gymnastics and weightlifting, running is not as bad as we all think. We fear things more in our head than they really are. Stop dreading the weaknesses you have, attack them. That's why I am doing this half marathon in 2 weeks. I'm attacking a known weakness of mine. I may never like running, but fear it I will not. And without that fear of something so simple and human, the stronger I'll become mentally. Guys, as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Do great things for your country. Hope this helps you out throughout the week. Enjoy.